Did you know that the richest man in history was African? Or that an African king conquered Europe 200 years before Napoleon? Here are 4 African kings whose empires were wealthier than England, more powerful than Rome, and larger than France. And yet, your school never told you about them. Charlemagne, Louis XIV, Napoleon. Those names ring a bell, but when we mention Mansa Musa, Shaka Zulu, Ezana of Aksum, silence in your history class. So why? Why did schools hide from you the existence of the greatest rulers in history? Well, the answer will make you angry. For centuries, you were made to believe that world history was only about Europe and a bit of Asia. But the truth is, Africa produced some of the most legendary rulers of all time. Their stories are so extraordinary, they make European kings look like local lords. So why the omission? Why the censorship? Why the lies? Well, today, we set the record straight. Get ready to meet for legends your education system deliberately erased. Let's talk about the richest man in history. Mansa Musa, first hidden king. He was the emperor of Mali from 1312 to 1337. His fortune, the equivalent of $400 billion, 4 times Elon Musk today. In 1324, he set out on a pilgrimage to Mecca with 60,000 people and 80 camels, each loaded with 135 kilos of pure gold. Total of 10.8 tons of gold on one trip. That's enough to fill an entire 747 villages. He gave away so much gold in Cairo that he caused an inflation crisis lasting 12 years. One man crashed the Mediterranean economy. During his reign, gold went from 100 to 400% more expensive. His empire covered 1.2 million square kilometers. That's larger than France, Germany, Spain, and Italy combined. The King of France was drowning in debt, while Mansa Musa was minting new currency every day. He founded the University of Sankore with 25,000 students and 700,000 manuscripts. While Harvard was founded, 300 years later, Timbuktu was the MIT of the Middle Ages. So why did your teacher taught you about Philip the Fair, but never about Mansa Musa the Rich? Why the censorship? The second king was named Shaka Zulu. He was often called the African Napoleon, the second hidden king. He, the military genius who revolutionized the art of war. From 1816 to 1828, he transformed a small tribe into an unstoppable war machine. In just 12 years, he united 300 tribes, ruled 250,000 square kilometers, and commanded 40,000 disciplined warriors. His win rate was perfect, 100%. He invented the bullhorn formation, the short stabbing spear, and the tactic of full encirclement. His military innovations were copied by modern armies. Even French military schools like St. Cyr analyze his strategies. The British feared him so much they called him the Black Napoleon. It took them 50 years and superior weapons to finally defeat his kingdom. He created the Zulu nation, united Southern Africa, and influenced world military history. Even Nelson Mandela drew inspiration from his legacy. His innovations were even greater. So why talk about Napoleon but completely erase Shaka Zulu? In third position we have King Ozana of Aksum, the third hidden king, who reigned from 320 to 368 D. He adopted Christianity 50 years before Rome. During his reign, his kingdom controlled the Red Sea, the trade between Africa, Asia, and Europe. He taxed 30% of everything: Indian spices, Chinese silk, African gold. He built obelisks up to 33 meters tall, carved from a single block of granite. One weighs 520 tons, a feat only equaled in the 20th century. He built churches more impressive than Rome's, like Lalibela carved out of rock, still stuns modern architects. While Constantine legalized Christianity in 325, and Ezana adopted it in 320, while Ethiopia had been Christian for 1,700 years, longer than most of Europe. His coins circulated from India to Byzantium. While post-Rome in Europe went back to bartering, Aksum kept an international monetary system. He Christianized Africa before Europe. So why does your history class and church talk about Constantine but never Ezana? Last but not least, our King Sundiata Keita, the nation builder, the fourth hidden king, founder of the Mali Empire in 1235. He created the first African constitution 500 years before Europe. Unfortunately, he was disabled until age 10, but that didn't stop him, because he learned to walk and became a legendary warrior. At Kirina, he defeated a tyrant named Sumoro to found a 1.3 million square kilometers empire. In 1235 he created the Mandan Charter, the world's first constitution. It abolished slavery, guaranteed women's rights, and protected the environment. He invented federalism. 12 autonomous provinces under a central government. The United States copied this system 500 years later. Sundiata Keita shows us that even if you start small, with courage, kindness, and teamwork, you can grow to do great things. Today, 8 African countries claim his heritage. Over 50 million people descend from his empire. So why does your civics class mention Magna Carta but ignore the Mandan Charter, more progressive and older? Mansa Musa's wealth alone reached $400 billion. The Mali Empire stretched across 1.2 million square kilometers. France, only 400,000. The Holy Roman Empire, just 600,000. The first true constitution was the Mandan Charter of Africa in 1235, and Europe's modern constitutions, they wouldn't appear until the 1600s. Africa led the way. The Kingdom of Aksum adopted Christianity in 320 AD. Rome followed in 325 AD. Northern Europe wouldn't convert until centuries later, between 800 and 1000 AD. Again and again, Africa was ahead, in wealth, in territory, in innovation, in faith. These 4 African kings surpassed all the European greats. Wealth, territory, innovation, influence, everything. So why the censorship? Why did school hide these heroes? Simple, for the same and exact reason. When Europe colonized Africa in the 19th century, it had to justify the unjustifiable. They could not justify enslaving a continent that produced kings greater than Europe, rewriting history, erasing these kings from textbooks, destroy evidence, spread the myth of Africa without history, of the best and wisest alternative, and it worked, but not anymore, because we can't continue to hide this history. By doing this, we play a major contribution by refusing to accept our history. It is part of our planet, continent, generation, culture, and life. In a standard French textbook, there are 200 pages on medieval Europe, 5 pages on Africa's slave trade only, but 0 pages on African empires. Even in the 21st century, this censorship continues. Teachers don't know these kings because they were never taught about them. 90% of French people have never heard of Mansa Musa. 95% don't know Azana of Aksum. This is programmed ignorance. Today, you now know. So let me ask you the only question that remained unanswered since the beginning of this video. What will you do with this truth? This history was hidden, but not anymore. Now it is up to you. Share this video for truth, for pride, and for the next generation. These 4 African kings shaped world history more than we can imagine today. Africa didn't only produce slaves, it produced the greatest rulers the world has ever known. If this revelation shocked you, hit like and subscribe to uncover more truths school never told you. And tell me in the comments, which king impressed you the most and what you would like to discover. It is never too late to learn more. See you on the next episode. Until then, stay curious.